What is up, guys? Happy Sunday and welcome back to Grand Prix World, where we'll be running the big one. It's the Monaco Grand Prix of the 2004 season. We're in a pretty good place. We are winning, which is always nice. We've also got the best part of 8.2 million in the bank. I'm not going to go ahead and order the factory upgrade straight away. What I'm trying to do is have in excess of 6 million available for the last round of the season, or just in time for the game to crash. Either way, we're here, it's Sunday. I hope you guys have been having an awesome weekend. The weather here is pretty much glorious, although I suspect we're going to get another storm later on. We are on the news, I believe. So, 3 wins in a row for Pedro Diniz, doing pretty well for him. Fisichella obviously crashed out of the last race, so he's got some ground to cover. McLaren will be powered by Ford next season, that's pretty important. Williams will also retain Eddie Irvine, that's also good news, I suppose. Fisichella got the fastest lap, although did end with him going in the wall, so I don't think we should be too celebratory on that front. We've signed 3 big-ass sponsors, which is always important. Ferrari have also harpooned themselves a whale by signing Morse on board, and Mini Champs will sponsor Williams, much like they did in real life. What else is going down? We have some technology to upgrade, that is true. I believe also we have a B-spec car, which should be ready to go, I hope. It is. Excellent. It's only a 6% gain. Kind of hope for better there, but we won't complain. Let's not complain. I was going to complain, we're not going to complain. Let's get those upgrades installed, and then we will run testing and try and see if we can't begin work on the C-spec in earnest. We need mechanics. I'm going to cancel fuel testing again for this round. It just seems like the right way to do it. And yeah, maximum number of laps, which is comparatively cheap for us actually, $262,500. I mean, I know it doesn't sound cheap at the face of it, but compared to what we've been spending thus far, it's a pretty cheap gig. Excellent, we have filled all the bars that we aim to fill, and that makes me happy. Let's spec out the Evo 7 Ford unit. I'm thinking we will go for heat tolerance, fuel economy, and weight. I will also save the game because I think it's going to crash. Always nice to avoid that. We were working on the hard compound tyre last I recall, although the wet could still use some love. Let's do the wet. And we will go for grip. Nice, so really, if we did one more evolution of the wet tyre, that's basically that done, and the hard, I don't think... We could try the hard compound at Monaco, actually. I think Fisichella might benefit from giving these tyres a run. I'm not going to compromise headers at this stage. Let's do some development. Okay, 40% on here. This is a new rear wing to deal with fast corners. Seems we like to develop solutions for fast corners in this game. But hey, I trust that the engineer knows what he's doing. Slam another 40% onto the modelling stage for the 2005 car. We're going to be finished again ahead of schedule. I don't know what's going to come out of it at the other end, but it will be done with plenty of time to spare, so that's always pleasant. Then we'll begin looking at sponsors again. I think our best hope for a multi-season deal lies with one of the 4-star sponsors rather than the 5-star. Let's use these points as well, no point wasting them. Looking good. Let's see if any of them have agreed to anything. We're getting pretty close to that works deal for Mobile 1? Mobile 1. Petronas are only offering a 1-season deal, as are Canal Plus. That's not very exciting to me. I'm going to drop 5% onto HSBC and see if they're interested in a multi-year deal. And I'll take 5% off Canal Plus. and I will put them onto Fond Metal, and we'll see if Fond Metal are interested in investing for more than a single season. I just want to minimise the amount of work we have to do next season, because as it stands, we have to negotiate with everybody except the tyre supplier, because our Ford deal will come to an end. Our Playlife deal should come to an end as well, I think. Oh no, we get an extra year out of Playlife. Okay, so basically we have to renegotiate next season for engine supply, fuel supply, and every single cash sponsor. Don't really want to be lining up to do that, to be perfectly frank with you. Let's see what's going on with sponsors. We'll invite the most important sponsors, which seems that's what we've done. Clever us. Ford, Playlife, Mobile One. Actually, I suppose Goodyear is probably more important than Mobile One, so we'll invite Goodyear. Unlucky fuel people. The cars are all repaired. Did we get rid of the damage? No, we didn't. We'll fix the Fisichella-mobile. Build ourselves some more spare parts, and then we will hit the track in Monaco. I did get a nice email, and I'm sorry I forget your name. I keep forgetting people's names lately, and that's not like me, so I do apologise. Asking about running live races again. I am aiming to run another full race for you this season. My time is really short. That's not to say I'm terminally ill or anything, just that I'm super busy. And it basically, this was the problem with the early portion of the playthrough, because initially I aimed to run every session live. Then I realised it created a twofold problem. The first one was that the game had and still has a propensity for crashing, and if the game crashes mid-race, then I've lost potentially 2 hours. I mean, qualifying takes the best part of an hour to record, and the race takes over an hour to record. And that's a problem because there is a time compression function, but it doesn't seem to work properly for me. I don't know why, and basically once I turn it on, I can't turn it off, and we can't view the live race again. It just means that we end up with really long videos or nothing at all, except a frustrated Zero because he spent 3 hours of his Sunday recording live footage and all of it's useless. So I have been reluctant to do it. I've done it on request before, so we've run Monaco before now. I think we've run Brazil and Australia as well, based on people's requests. My aim this year is to potentially run the last race as a live full event, or maybe, I think the last race is Luxembourg. I don't know why I think that. I thought it was Japan actually, but it is Japan. Okay, so maybe we'll run Japan because it's quite a good track. I am a big fan of Suzuka, and I think it could be quite watchable. And then, you know, if it goes wrong and it doesn't work out, then all we'll do is bin it off and I'll do it as a normal episode and nothing's lost. But my aim then is to run the full event for Japan. Just let me know if that's interesting in any way. I mean, I don't want to do it if no one wants to watch it. It does mean you're going to have about 2 to 2.5 hours of content for that one round, because we'll do all the build-up as well. We'll probably tie in elements of the season review before we do the pre-season review. So it'll end up being 2 or 3 particularly long episodes. But I am prepared to do it for you if that's what you want to see. Okay, that's that said. Let's do racing now. Oh, we discovered something. What was it we discovered? Automatic gears on the Jordan. I think we've already got level 2, so we will just complain. Okay. Fisichella and Deniz all set up. Boom. We will go for extra downforce. I think that's a no-brainer, to be honest. Extra braking. See, I don't really want to... It can rain at Monaco. It does rain at Monaco fairly frequently. I just don't see why I would push him to a drier setup, to be honest. I'll push it for an easy wind, maybe. and we'll do Deniz that way. I'm going to try Fisichella on the hard compound tyre, and through the medium of the hard compound tyre dance, it is my fond hope that we can get him back in an interesting position in terms of scoring some fucking points. We're still on level 2 of the soft compound tyre, but whatever. Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. I know traditionally we've run Fisichella on the soft compound and Deniz on the hard compound, but now the places are reversed, and the soft compound is a known quantity for us. It will occasionally perform worse than the hard compound, but generally it's faster, and we know it's working well on the car at the moment. We know Deniz is able to win convincingly using these tyres with the chassis as it stands. It is the first run out for our B-Spec car, which has received an upgrade to fast cornering, which obviously isn't going to come into play here, but we must, as ever, be optimistic about this. And what I'd like to see is Fisichella come out with the win here, actually, just to prove that putting the hard tyres on his car wasn't a complete waste of everybody's time. And 2 rounds of development. 20 degrees and very dry, so yeah, sucks to be me, doesn't it? Because I could have set the car up for that, but didn't. Just checking he's got the right tyres on. Let's see what we get. Well, he outqualifies Deniz, so it's a 1-2 for Jordan. They seem to be very well suited to this track. Michael Schumacher leads teammate Juan Pablo Montoya. Schumacher putting in a 1:19.877 and Montoya putting in a 1:19.974. It's very close between them, about a tenth. David Coulthard takes 3rd for Benetton. Bit of a resurgence for Benetton there. Fisichella separates him from his teammate to take 4th. Shinji Nakano lines up 5th. Pedro Deniz takes 6th. Ferrari have slipped back a little bit. It's still a messed up season. No one seems to have consistent form except us. Alexander Wurz and Sosa Moriera line up 7th and 8th for Ferrari. Johnny Newhouse puts his McLaren back inside the top 10. And Johnny Herbert ensures Williams return to the top 10 as well. Down at the bottom in the town of the losers, in a little tent at the side of the road, it's Marini and Tuero in the Prost. Stewart and Tyrrell have both their cars lining up, not concurrently, but from 17th to 20th, so they're not doing particularly well at all. Sauber are now reliably mixing it up with Minardi, so they've got that going for them. Mika Hakkinen was the real standout failure, though, putting his McLaren 14th. No adequate explanation for that, to be honest with you. Temperature has increased for race day. It's no longer very dry, merely dry, with a slack wind. Yeah, I think we're all good. Okay, we will one stop Fisico and hope that the tyres have got the life in them, because they're not particularly well optimised at the moment. It'll be a 39-39 split for Fisichella. We don't really know how he is at saving his tyres. We know Deniz is pretty much a known quantity in that regard, but he still gets fresh boots every lap anyway. Minimum fuel load, he'll pit initially on lap 27 and then a follow-up pit stop on lap 53. Yeah, nothing more to say really, let's just hope for the best. There we go, Giancarlo Fisichella takes the win. It's his first win in 4 rounds, I think. On a 1:49.49.847, quite a close gap actually between him and Michael Schumacher's Jordan in 2nd. Pedro Deniz completes the podium on a 1:50.01.181. See, that's interesting. That is interesting, because if Fisichella had binned it again or stayed on the soft compound tyre, it might have been a Michael Schumacher Jordan win here in Monaco. Sosa Moriero and Alexander Wurz recover some of their dignity to take 4th and 5th, and Juan Pablo Montoya takes 6th to ensure Jordan's continued run of double points finishes that they've been enjoying recently. Just outside the points, it's Johnny Newhouse, Johnny Herbert, Eddie Irvine and Tora Takagi's Minardi round off the top 10. Reasonable level of attrition there, with only 11 finishes out of 22. Marini's Prost finishing 5 laps down, king of the losers. Any double failures on the same car? Doesn't appear so. Both Saubers, both Tyrrells, both Benettons, and both Stewarts failed to finish, but no common error between any two teams' cars. That said, engine failure was the second most common. The biggest problem seemed to be suspension, actually, with Emmanuel Collard's Stewart, Shinji Nakano's Benetton, and Jarno Trulli's Tyrrell all succumbing to suspension failure. Unlucky. Pedro Diniz continues to lead the Drivers' World Championship on 50 points, ahead of Michael Schumacher on 26. Giancarlo Fisichella has closed the gap to Michael Schumacher to just a mere 2 points. He sits third on 24 points. Vurt sits fourth, and Eddie Irvine and Celso Moreira are joint fifth to round off your top six. Meanwhile, in the Constructors' Championship, we stay top of the pile on 74 points, ahead of Jordan on 32, and Ferrari round off the top three on 24. Minardi continue to sit 1 point clear of Sauber to take 7th, and Benetton and McLaren are the big surprise losers so far in terms of point scorers. But hey ho, that's not our problem. That was a healthy profit we took away from that race. A very healthy profit. I don't know what we did to earn it, but it's fine by me. Here we go, Fond Metal offering a 2-season deal at 1.6 million. HSBC are offering an extra 500,000. That's probably worth taking note of. Interesting times. We've got all the benefits available now from our tyre deal. I'm going to use the success card on the Fond Metal deal. Try and get that signed in a way. And I'm going to drop the TV advantage onto the HSBC deal, and I'm going to try and get as many of these guys as possible. We can only sign 3 of them, but we know the 3 that we ideally want, which is HSBC, Petronas and Fond Metal, and we're keeping Canal Plus in the mix just for funsies. Kind of like a backup option. So, invited to the next party in Canada, Mobile One, Fond Metal, and HSBC Classic. Let's see what else has been going on. Giancarlo Fisichella obviously won. Pedro Diniz is unhappy with 3rd position. I don't blame him. Ferrari have signed a works contract with Mercedes-Benz. That's an interesting move. Having only just returned to using Ferrari power, they seem unhappy already. Ferrari and Jordan both got 2 cars in the top 6, as did ourselves. Michael Schumacher had the fastest lap. That Jordan is really coming along in his hands. Jordan have signed a sponsorship deal with Lear. Parmalat will sponsor McLaren, and MCI will be sponsoring Williams. And yeah, all the usual fun stuff. We're ready to move on to the CFD simulation phase for the C-Spec already. That always makes me pleased. We've got a clutch upgrade ready to deploy. Next will be electronics. Good to see that really it's only been the engine that we've had trouble with failure on. That's always an encouraging sign. Let's see about testing. We no longer need to do any development testing, so we will go back to running fuel testing. I think we can probably tone down the engine testing, to be perfectly frank. Let's see what we get out of this. We'll still run the maximum number of laps, still $750 a lap, so Canada also is kind to our budget. Good to remember, actually, we should consider that when considering how high our budget sits at the moment. See what we got out of this. Nah, not really a win, but we'll take it. Okay, tyres. We will upgrade. What will we upgrade? I think we'll upgrade the hard. there. It's kind of weak, comparatively, it's kind of weak in temperature, but that's fine. We don't need it to heat up super quickly anyway over a race distance. It's more a problem for qualifying. We are going to boost only the engine power and not the engine tolerance of our race fuel for the next evolution, I think. We've got some power tracks coming up on the calendar. Yeah, and that engine testing was a complete waste of everybody's time. But whatever. We are now done with engine testing. Our Evolution 9 engine is... all the bars are full of bars. That is good. Look at those happy little rainbows. I mean, they're not proper rainbows, obviously. It would be better if they were, I think we'd all agree. Do we? Maybe? Maybe? Yeah? No, we'll just drop the 6 million at the end of the season. Balls to it. We don't need to rush. What's going on with the drivers? Everyone's happy, right? Yeah. Keller has lost a skill point. That is intriguing. I don't know why that would happen. But it has. Maybe he's getting older. Do we need to hire any more staff? It's always good to just make sure. Staff do leave. They do quit. And you don't always get... you know, if you don't go digging around in your emails, you don't get the notification. And because I don't want to bore you by reading through all the emails on screen, and you can keep track of everything the emails inform you of anyway by just being diligent when running the team, it can be possible to sort of overlook someone leaving the team who's quite important. When I say quite important, I mean like a star worker, or you know, maybe you've only got one expert in a department and they quit, and that can really impact the efficiency of the department, so it's good to keep an eye on that. Okay, let's rebuild our spare parts stock, and we will go a-racing in Canada. I'm guessing we'll see a fairly similar result to what we saw at Monaco, which means Jordan, I would expect, to continue nibbling at our heels and being a general thorn in our arse. But it's good. It's a renewal of a traditional rivalry. I mean, they were our first big rivals. You know, during this playthrough, they were the first ones to really take the fight to us and be someone that we had to watch very closely. So it's good to see them back on top of the pile with us, at least for entertainment value, because I was beginning to worry that our domination was going to continue and become quite boring to watch. I was surprised actually that, particularly this season with changing engine supplier, that we've not actually suffered more than we have, which is to say barely at all. We've had some DNF issues with Fisichella, but it's not been enough to really hamper the campaign. It strikes me very much of the campaign for the 2001 season, I think it was, when we won our first championship, or was it 2002? Where we won not by necessarily being totally superior, but because our opposition were so disorganised and inconsistent, and simply by finishing the races in and around the points, we were able to sort of squeeze our way through to a title. It's still a legitimate way to win. In fact, it's arguably the best way to win, because it shows that you're developing the team in a healthy and sustainable way. You're not sort of focusing on one area, dumping a whole bunch of cash into it, and then having that developmental hangover that Jordan obviously had following that season. I'm going to boost braking, downforce, speed. I'm going to set the suspension up for a fairly flat road surface, and I'm going to set it up for a bit more downforce. Fisichella, on the other hand, I'll set up a little bit differently. Let's just make sure I've repaired these cars. Everything looks good there. All the design stuff is done. 1 second. It's always good to check you've not been a dickhead by accident. It can happen. Got the Evo 7 engine. We have a new hard compound for Fisico. Evo 7 engine for Deniz. No new tyres for him. Except we do have the Evo 4 wets actually, so let's make sure they've got those available because Canada. Yeah, all good. Excellent. Let's do it. 24 degrees and very dry with a strong wind. I'm still not entirely sure how wind is affecting our car at the moment, but hopefully the B-Spec suits strong wind conditions. Who knows? Let's see how we get out of qualifying. Wow, the hard tyre was not the one to have here. Michael Schumacher continues to impress for Jordan, taking pole position on a 1:18.599. Celso Moreira is the highest placed Goodyear runner. His Ferrari takes second on a 1:18.699. Juan Pablo Montoya makes it a 2 in a row 1-3 start for Jordan on a 1:18.704. Shinji Nakano puts his Benetton fourth on a 1:18.786. Pedro Diniz takes fifth for Arrows on a 1:18.837, a little bit slower than I would have hoped there, Peders. Alexander Wurz puts his Ferrari sixth. David Coulthard, Johnny Newhouse, Giancarlo Fisichella and Toru Takagi round out the top 10. Fisichella qualifying only 9th there, and to be fair, it's fairly close. The gap between him and Diniz isn't astronomical, but it's a lot bigger than it should be. Nevertheless, I'm sure he'll gain that time back by not pit stopping. That would be the hope, at least. We will be stopping Fisichella on lap 35. His second stint will be 34 laps on that basis. We'll continue to two-stop Diniz. And he'll be stopping laps 24 and 47. Good luck to both of you. Hopefully you can unleash some race pace from these beasts. Let's do it. Well, someone did. It's another win for Pedro Diniz. 1:33.25.700. Again, a massively dominating win. He's 30 seconds clear of Michael Schumacher's Jordan, who takes second. It's funny actually, I noticed that the Bridgestone cars do really well in qualifying, but the Goodyear cars do well in the race. Alexander Wurz rounds off the podium for Ferrari on a 1:33.58.293. Only 3 seconds down the road sits Giancarlo Fisichella in the Arrows. Eddie Irvine takes 5th for Williams, and the final points paying position goes to Mika Häkkinen's McLaren, who, albeit finished in 6th, but 1 lap down. Attrition didn't seem quite so high this time. The Stewarts and Prosts finished 3 and 4 laps down, respectively, although engine failure did take Marini out of the race. Double hydraulic failure for Tyrrell, that's somewhat concerning for them, but we aren't them, so sucks to be you, Ken. Pedro Diniz extends his lead even further at the top of the Drivers' Championship on 60 massive points. Michael Schumacher sits second on 32, Giancarlo Fisichella takes third on 27 points, 6 points clear of Alexander Wurz in 4th. In the Constructors, Jordan are our closest rival, but they're still not near enough to really be too concerning. We take first on 87 points and they sit second on 38, 10 points clear of Ferrari in third. All things considered, a pretty successful outing all in all. Speaking of success, we have signed a 2-season deal now with Fond Metal, so we're going to leave 10% of our guys on that deal because it's important to get that money and all the bonuses that it entails. Seems Petronas have signed with somebody else, but fuck them, we don't need them now. And the Canal Plus deal has slowed down, but it's still possible, and we've got half a season still to sign people. We've got a works deal now in place for Mobile 1. Good job we saw that as well. Got to sign it before someone else steals it. Well, I think that's a pretty good episode, all things considered, and a pretty good way to end it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you've had an amazing weekend. I hope you're not dreading Monday as much as I am, because I've got a buttload of work to get done, and none of it is good. In the meantime, I will talk to you probably later today, actually. I'm supposed to be recording, potentially with Corrent, but also with Simon Smith over on High Plane Games. It will be, I hope, the return of the F1 co-op season, so do please join us for that. Other than that, have yourselves an amazing Sunday evening, crack open a cold one, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Take it easy.